So I'm going to share my screen. What I made is like a little presentation kind of just to make sure that I go over everything that I want to go over. But if you have any questions while I'm going through, if you don't mind to just wait until the end, because most likely I'm hoping um, whatever it is that your question is, hopefully I'll answer it once we kind of go through. Okay. Miss Palmer, obviously, those of you all that haven't got to see me before in person, it's so weird this year because normally I've like met all the parents and know all of your all's faces. So I apologize that I don't really this year, but this is just a little bit about me, just some favorite things. And those are my kids, Landon and Scarlett. Landon will be 5 in January, and hopefully he's going to go to Schaffner next school year. And then Scarlett will be 2 in December. And then my husband, Philip, our dog, Callie, and just some of our favorite things. That's just a little bit about me. And okay, there we go. This is just kind of reminders about Class Dojo and this being the best way to get a hold of me. And if you need to communicate with me, this is the fastest and easiest. Obviously, if you need something and you know, you need to email me, like it's something lengthy, that's fine too. But since Dojo comes in like a text message, I get those all throughout the day and I can usually respond throughout the day. Bonnie, did you need something or did you accidentally do that?
I was trying to get like a gallery mode going so I could see people, and I'm on my phone. I'm not used to being on here on my phone.
Oh,
so
okay, that's
didn't mean
okay.
to.
I was making sure you didn't need something.
Yeah.
But yes, obviously those of you all are all on Class Dojo, and I send out reminders and things on there a lot. So that's definitely the quickest and easiest way to get a hold of me. So this just kind of explains again the Class Dojo point system that we do. This was explained in the welcome letter, but just in case you kind of forgot or anything like that. But all of the kids start off each day with 4 points. Because I do it this way for 2 reasons. For one reason, I don't want to constantly be giving out points all day long if they're just doing what they're supposed to be doing, if that makes sense. And I also don't want to forget any kid that, like, if they've been great all day, I want them to still, you know, have all the points that they were supposed to have. So this is just easiest for me that I found for everybody to start with the same amount. And then obviously if they're misbehaving or not making smart choices or something, then they can lose points. But I always give kiddos opportunity to gain points back. So even if they've lost a point, they 100% can, you know, earn that point back. So sometimes you might see where they've lost a point and gained a point, or lost 2 points and gained a point. That's just because I don't want kids to think, oh, I've made a mistake, but they have to be stuck there at that color or whatever it is. So 4 points is role model purple. That's obviously what everybody starts with every day. Blue just means they kept 3 of their points. So maybe they, oh, I have somebody else in the waiting room. Sorry, you all. Maybe they, you know, just needed a few reminders and things that day. Green is 2 points. Yellow is 1, and then red is 0. If your kiddo ever comes home on a red, they're going to also have a think about it note home in their folder. That's just like a reflection sheet of what happened. Why did we end up on red? That me and the student will complete together. So it's not like a referral or anything like that. It doesn't go to the office. It stays with me. But that's more so the child can internalize the choices that they made for the day and make sure that they're kind of back on the right track for tomorrow being a new day, and how can we fix it and do better. So that's why I do that. This is just a reminder about homework. So that purple take-home folder that comes home every day also needs to come back to school every day. Most everybody's doing a really great job with this. The only homework that there will be for the whole year is just the reading log. You've noticed that they're kind of different each week or every 2 weeks. They'll continue to be different, and they'll continue to get a little bit more difficult as the year goes on. Right now, we're sticking with very basic character. Setting is this week, you know, where the story takes place. but that's just because I know right when the kids get in here from the time that they leave, we're busy. I mean, we're busy. We do a lot. So I don't want kids to go home and have a bunch of homework that they have to do as well. I want them to go home, go outside, play with their siblings, hang out with you all. I don't believe in going home and doing a bunch of homework. And studies have proven that that's not beneficial anyway. So that is why reading for 20 minutes each night is just the main thing that I want them to do. And if for some reason you don't have a lot of books at home, there's Epic and different things that you can get onto. It'll have stories that you all can read to together, listen to together, and all of that. I also wanted to remind you all, if you signed up to be in the book club, which a lot of you all did, if you signed up to be in the book club, I have ordered all of those books, but they have not got to me yet because, of course, due to COVID, as everything else, it's running behind. So they have been ordered. If you wrote a check, I mailed it, they've cashed it, whatever, because I wanted to go ahead and get those ordered, and I'm glad I did since they're running behind. So as soon as those August books and September books get to me, I will make sure those go home with the kiddos. And then hopefully within the next couple of weeks, they'll be here. And then we can kind of be back on track and they can get their October books in October. And because I kind of tried to do theme books a little bit, so I'm hoping that they're going to come in. But you order those on their way. This just kind of explains grading. We haven't done a ton yet that you've been seeing with like a number grade on it. A lot of what you're seeing coming home so far has been more participation things, or more things that we're doing together or that kiddos are working on their own just to practice skills that we practice together. So a lot of what you've seen coming home has a star on it or a check on it or a sticker on it or whatever. But as we go throughout the year, more and more things you're gonna see it's gonna have a number. It's gonna have 1 to 4. One being obviously little practice. They did not meet whatever standard it was that we were working on. 2 is satisfactory. 3 is good. And then 4 is excellent progress. So obviously it's okay if your kiddo's not getting a 4 every time on all assignments, because we're obviously all still learning. And yes, that's the goal, but if they're on a 2 or a 3, hey, that's fine. Especially if maybe they start with doing 2s and then all of a sudden they're going up to 3s and 4s, that's good. So don't be worried. We all, in a lot of things, especially in first grade, we don't just teach one time and then bam, it's done. We come back to things a lot. So if they don't get things right away when we're doing them, that doesn't mean we're done for the year and they're supposed to already know it. So I don't want you to think that, because that's definitely not the case. But this just kind of shows an example of our grading for this year. A lot of things you'll see coming home for me. If your child brings in a water bottle, it's not mandatory, but if they do, if they could make sure that they have their name on it somewhere, like you can always do a piece of duct tape or something and write it on permanent marker. That's really helpful, just so we don't have kids getting water bottles mixed up. A lot of kiddos are bringing in those plastic water bottles, and obviously they all look the same, like the just Kroger ones or whatever. And so I am like so paranoid that kids are going to get those mixed up and then they're drinking after each other. So somewhere on there you could have their name on it. That would be really, really helpful. They obviously don't have to bring a water bottle every day, but it does minimize them having to go get a drink on their own. And it's also helpful when we come in from outside too, because then they kind of have their own drink to cool off with. But no juice or anything like that, which I don't think I've had anybody bring that this year. So just a reminder on that. This is a snack reminder. Don't forget that kiddos can bring snacks every day. They don't have to, but they can. We're the very first lunch of the entire school. I don't know how we go before kindergarten, but we do. So we're the very first lunch of the whole school. So we're at 11. So that's early. So obviously by the end of the day, I'm hungry, so I know they're hungry. So it is helpful if you do send in like a little something for them, or even if like something extra in their lunchbox they know they can use for snack. But it's really supposed to be something healthy. Yogurt and fruit cups, I know those are healthy, but they're really, really messy, and I don't have spoons. So, some kids have brought in the squeeze applesauce pouches. I'm fine with those because that doesn't require a spoon, obviously. But if it's something that they need a spoon with, I don't have just a bunch of spoons. So please don't send that. I don't recommend chips or Cheetos. There has been some friends that have brought in some chips and things. I haven't made them throw it away or anything like that, but we prefer obviously healthy snacks for sure. Which most kids have been bringing in healthy things, but just a little reminder, definitely no candy, or anything like that. So, okay. And then this is just about dress code, which I know you all saw there's some changes in dress code this year if you were at Schaffner last year. But just a reminder that masks must be worn all the time. You all have any extra masks too, like for your kiddo, and they had one in their backpack, that would be so helpful. What's happening a lot is masks are getting snotted on, sneezed on, wet from the water fountain. You can only imagine. So a lot of kids are having to switch their mask out. So my disposable mask collection is replenishing quickly. So I don't need you all to go buy me any by any means. But if your kiddo has an extra one in their backpack, then that's nice. They can always go run and get that instead of having to use one of mine. So that would be awesome if they had an extra one in there. Don't forget too, this is new this year, but if your child's pants don't have belt loops on them at all, they don't have to wear a belt. If they do have belt loops, they do need to wear a belt. Now, for some reason you have cut off the belt loops, that's fine, and they don't need to wear a belt, obviously. So basically, if there's belt loops on it, they do have to wear a belt. No belt loops, and they don't have to wear a belt. Okay. Any trim on clothing, this is especially seems to be for like the girls' clothing, but like if you get a polo shirt with like the little lace or like little, almost like a little scallop design on the edge, as long as it's the same color as the shirt, that's fine. We just don't want to make sure they're wearing like a white lace thing underneath the shirt. It seems like girls more so are finding shirts like that. And just remember, no logos on clothing either. And then light up shoes too, we're really not supposed to have those. There have been a few kids that have had light up shoes that I've noticed, and I haven't said anything just yet, but that really isn't supposed to be allowed. It's not super distracting to me, but obviously it's a school rule, so. Okay, Chromebook. So all of you all have done an excellent job. I think I have everybody's Chromebook. I don't think I'm missing. Checking back there now. I don't think I'm missing any Chromebooks, which is great. We have started this week actually working on Chromebooks here in school. They're getting on a math program called Zern. You might have heard them talk about it, but we have started working on that during math time. We're going to continue to use Chromebooks some here and there. So for now, I'm keeping everybody's Chromebooks here at school. They're safe, they're charging, but that's just so kiddos are not losing them or breaking them, especially since, you know, you all sign that paper now that you're responsible if something does happen to them. I don't want them to go home and be broken or anything like that. So I'm just leaving them here since we're using them. For some reason, your kiddo has to go on quarantine, they are allowed to have the Chromebook and the charger. So obviously I will make sure that you get that if for some reason your kiddo has to go on quarantine sometime during this school year. We've been lucky and we have not had a whole lot of kids in our class have to be on quarantine, thankfully. But, you know, there are some classes that 12 kids have been quarantined. So obviously they have needed those Chromebooks to go home and do some work. We've gotten lucky and had mostly everybody here so far. This is just little reminders about health things. Obviously, they can't come to school if they have a fever within 24 hours without medicine. So as long as they don't have a fever, they're allowed to come. But if they do have a fever, they can't come back for 24 hours, you know, without any Tylenol, Advil, whatever. If they're coughing a whole lot, having difficulty breathing, vomiting, diarrhea, obviously loss of taste or smell, those are just good ideas to keep them home. And you all have been doing excellent. I can't complain at all, like as a class, but just a few reminders. And then obviously we do have a nurse, which is awesome. Her name's Sarah. So if you have any specific questions about anything, obviously she's going to be better than I am to answer those. So you can call the school and chat with her or leave her a message or email or something. But her name's Nurse Sarah. So she's very helpful with all of that. And she would be the one contacting you if for some reason your kiddo had to be quarantined. So then this at the end, this is just like a few ways to contact me. Like I said, Class Dojo is the best way to contact me anytime because it's just super easy and quick. And I try to respond, even on weekends, I try and respond to you guys. You're not bugging me, don't worry. I just answer when I can, but I get it. I know sometimes you have to just message when kids are asleep or whatever. So if you're worried about messaging me late or whatever, don't worry about it. You can message me anytime. And as soon as I check it and can respond, I will. But my email is also down there too. It's danielle.palmer@jefferson.kyschools.us. So if you have something like really lengthy or something that you do want to email me about, you can. And then don't forget to follow our class Facebook page, which is just Miss Palmer's Firsties. I try and post pictures there like every Friday, once a week, just kind of things we did of the week or for the week in the classroom. So I try and do that as much as and as often as I can. But that's it. So kind of what I said was short and sweet and to the point. Hopefully you all got to watch my video. This is obviously I'm in our classroom. I just decided to see here. So my toddler wasn't screaming in the background. So I stayed just at school. But hopefully you all watched the little video and I kind of showed different parts of our classroom and you got to see some pictures and things. But the kiddos love it and I love it. And very colorful and inviting. We do flexible seating, which is so fun. So hopefully you got to watch that little video. If you haven't, it's still on that same page that Mr. Eccles put on. It's also on my personal YouTube page because I have a teacher YouTube page, so it's on there as well if you did want to watch that later on. But obviously this is not a time I can talk about because I'm recording this meeting as well, just in case the parents missed it. Don't forget, this isn't a time I can talk to you one-on-one about any about your kiddo and how they're doing. But if anybody does have any questions that would apply to something I said, you can just unmute or do the little hand raise button or type it in the chat box, whatever you want to do. And I will answer that to the best of my ability. So does anybody have any questions or anything? We don't have a big group, so if y'all do.
I don't think so.
Okay, good. Hopefully you all don't either. I tried to make sure, like, that's why I made this little PowerPoint to make sure I covered everything. But I know probably some of you all were wondering about book club books. I promise. I wish they were a little bit quicker. I don't know what's going on because honestly, last year Scholastic didn't really have issues, but they were shipping them to kids' homes. I don't know now since they're shipping them back to schools if there's a delay. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. And I know there's only 3 of you on here, but don't forget the book fair is also this week. That's going to be ending Friday. We haven't had too many people bring in money yet, but just make sure they bring in their money by then because that's the last day for it. And I'll just send kids down as they bring it. But that's really all I had. Nothing else specific. I sent out, don't forget on Dojo, if you haven't looked already on our class stories, I sent a link to the September newsletter, which just kind of talks about what we're doing this month in the classroom. And it also has attached to it a calendar where you can look at things coming up. You can also look on there for when our PE week is and things like that. And it'll also have a link to sign up for conferences. I don't have that link active right now. You can click on it and look at it, but I don't have any time slots you can sign up for yet. I'm waiting to get more information from Mr. Eccles. I'm pretty positive that they're going to be virtual. I don't think they're going to be in person, but I'm kind of waiting to like hear definitely on that. I do think conferences are going to be virtually. I'm guessing just on a Zoom or Google Meet. So waiting to hear more specific info about that. But as soon as that link is like active where you all can sign up, I'll let you know. And then we can discuss like individual student progress then at that time. So if you all don't have anything, I don't really have anything else. Just thank you all for being great and supportive. And if you ever need anything, always let me know. Definitely.
For sure.
And thank you all so much for coming. Sorry it was so small, but if you all need anything, you can hang out for a minute and ask me. If not, you can go ahead and go and tell all your little cuties I'll see them in the morning.
Hi, Ms. Palmer.
Thank you.
This is Michelle, Gabrielle's mom. Can you hear me?
Yes.
So I have a few questions. So for the book club, are the books for grade level or individual students' reading level?
Okay, that's a good question. So I do a lot of what I get for book club are like packs of books. So it might be like 10 in a pack or whatever. And if it's like that, they're going to be leveled. And so obviously I'm going to give levels based on kids' reading levels that I know. I officially got done with everybody's reading level, which is so exciting because that's a big to-do list for me. So I now know where everybody's reading individually. So a lot of what I order are differentiated so I can give kids more towards their level. But if it's something that like if it's the same book, like for example, I know for August book club, one of the books I got was Stand Tall by Molly Lou, or Stand Tall Molly Lou Mellon is what it's called. So it's just like a first grade reading level in general that all the kids would be getting if they were in that book. But there's a lot of packs that I have ordered that are differentiated. So I'm going to gear those more towards each kiddo, if that makes sense. So some of the books, it's going to be more of a first grade book. Some of them are going to be like geared to their individual reading level. So hopefully that answers your question, Sam.
Yes, it does. Thank you so much. And also, I remember you mentioning that it's best to keep homework down to a minimum and that it's best to just read 20 minutes
Yes.
and do those reading logs that you do. But is there anything else that we could do to support, I guess, anything else that we could do at home?
That's a good
In
question.
addition to those, or just leave it at that and that's what's best?
Yes. Okay. So that's a good question. So we just started on, there's different programs that we're going to be slowly starting. Like we're going to be starting Reading Eggs. I know some of you are familiar with that from kindergarten, which is going to be like an individualized reading program because it's right on whatever kid's level. So even if they're at an A or at an M reading level, it's going to be specific for them. And we just started on Zern, which is a math program. So my plan is to, at conferences, even if for some reason you don't sign up for a conference, I'm going to send home the login sheet that I've made that has all the different programs on it that we're using. And that is always things that you can do at home. It's never going to hurt a kid to be ahead on one of those or whatever. We also do a lot of those here at school. But that way you feel like, you know, if you feel like you notice your kid struggling some with math or whatever it may be, you can get them on one of those programs and that'll be something. I know it's not paper and pencil work, but any of the programs we've used, like I've tested, my team uses, and they're very, very, very beneficial. Because we hate to just do ones that are, you know, kind of just silly. So any of those are absolutely going to be things you can get on too. And obviously at conference time too, if I'm worried about your individual child, I'll send things like that you can work on with that child, if that makes sense. At home. It would be almost like extra things if you needed.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. So hopefully maybe she answered any questions maybe you all had too. But if anybody else doesn't have any questions, you can go ahead and go. And thank you all so much for coming. I appreciate you all. And like I said, if you need anything, just let me know.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye. Bye, Gabby. Bye, Norman. I'll see you all tomorrow.
All right, thank you, Ms. Palmer. Have a good evening.
Thank you. You too.
Bye.
Bye.